Hello everybody, it's Rachel here at Clarty Hands Crafts. Today I am going to be making a template. I don't know why I've never thought of doing this before, but I'm going to make a template for piercing holes in the spine of my junk journal. I always do the same kind of stitch. I don't know what it's called, but it requires 3 holes in the top, middle and bottom of the spine, and I need 4 sets of those holes. So I just thought I'd switch the camera on and show you how I do it in case you want to make your own, because I think it will be quite useful and more efficient. The first thing I'm going to do is measure 2.5 centimetres down from the top edge, and I'm just going to make a little mark there. And then I'm going to mark 2.5 centimetres from the bottom edge on the same side. Flip that round, align it again, do the same thing again, 2.5 centimetres and 2.5 centimetres. And then I'm going to draw a line between those dots, one at the top and one at the bottom. Now I'm going to find the centre, so it's a 21 centimetre piece, or thereabouts, just under, I've just centralised it there. And we're going to need 10.5 centimetres marking on both sides, like that, and then we'll draw a line between those two as well. Sorry if that's a strange angle, but it's hard for me to fit the ruler in to get it under my tripod thing. So now I need to draw 4 lines going downwards, and they need to be spaced equally apart. My mount board is 5 centimetres wide, so I want a line at 1 centimetre, a line at 2 centimetres, a line at 3 centimetres and a line at 4 centimetres. Turn it round, do the same with the other end. 1 centimetre, 2 centimetres, 3 centimetres, 4 centimetres. Now join those up. Without getting my head directly above it, it's hard to tell if I've done this really straight. But you can do a neater job than I'm doing here. Now all that's left to do is to pierce holes on each of the intersections. And there you have it. You've made a template. So then what you'll do with that, here's one that I need to stitch in. So this is just my temporary binding, which is just a piece of string which has been wrapped around 3 times. So I'll take that out. Then I can align the template with the spine of the journal and centralise that. It is best to have a piece of foam or something underneath. I'll take that needle out so that I don't blunt my awl. I'm guessing it's called an awl. That makes more sense. This thing, whatever you call it. So align that with your spine, and then you can just pierce all the way through. For those of you who've never seen me do this before, I'll show you how I make the signature template as well. So I've folded a piece of card, and it's nice thick card, it makes it easier. And then I will use the ruler to measure again. So we have 2.5 centimetres from each end, and 10.5 centimetres to the centre. I'll turn that inside out. And then pierce the holes at those dots. And then those dots, I don't know if it's going to show up very well on camera, but those dots will then match up with the template because they've been measured into the same place. So I have a dot there, I have a dot there, and I have a dot there, and they're matching up with this. Okay. Then all we do is slip that inside of the signature. I need to align my pages first before I stitch them, before I pierce them. Because things like this, the shorter pages, I want to have them distributed evenly. Then you find the centre of the journal, you place the template inside, you align it with the centre, or tops and bottom of the pages. Hold it like that at an angle, and then you can just pierce straight through. If I can find the hole, I haven't made it big enough. There's 1, 2, and 3. So that's the top page. I'll do that with the rest and then I'll show you how I stitch it in. This didn't turn out to be the best example of stitching that I ever did because there were loads of different layers, different kinds of papers, and everything was slipping and it was all going wrong. But I did try to get the last signature, which is always the front. I always start at the back signature and work my way towards the front. It stops me getting mixed up and it stops unnecessary stress on the cotton, and we don't get any ripped papers and things like that. But just as I was doing this, it was just tough. It wasn't working very well, but I've recorded it anyway, and I just thought I'd tell you a little bit about how I do it. So I go from the centre of the signature, I go through the top hole, and then I go through the top hole of the spine, then I go back in the middle hole of the spine, and that comes out through the middle hole of the signature. Then I go down to the bottom hole of the signature and out through the bottom hole of the spine, and then it goes back in through the middle hole of the spine and out through the middle hole of the signature. And then I just tie it in a knot as best I can, and I always finish it off with a little blob of Mod Podge or some sort of glue just to hold the knot and make sure that it doesn't come apart or anything like that. So that's how I did it, and I hope it's clear, but I've got a feeling it's not going to be the best example you've ever seen. But the template works is what I'm getting at, so yeah, happy trying. So there we have it. Make yourself a template and make your life a little bit easier today. See you next time. Bye.